What up, everybody? I am your host, J5, and welcome to the Block Podcast, where we focus on entrepreneurial growth as well as social issues and injustices that surround the urban community, bringing to you real-life experience for the advancement of business development. Okay, first off, I need you to grab your pen and your pad, as you're going to learn today. Everybody wants to work for themselves, but not everybody knows how to do it. So I need you to pay close attention to today's guest if you want to get that know-how, because she's going to drop a few gems for you today. But first, before we step out on the block, let me pause for the cause and take a moment to show love to the people who pay me. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I like to make my sponsors make sense. And with COVID-19 being upon us, whether it be business or personal, you need professionals that can supply you with all your personal protection equipment. Whether it be masks, gloves, hand sanitizer, or reliable disinfectants for my studio to keep me and my guests safe, I know ROI Marketing and Safety have got me and my guests covered. So log on to www.roippe.com or drop them an email at sales@roippe.com and let them keep you and yours safe. Now, let's step out on the block. Okay, when today's guest is not filming her strategy session videos, hosting entrepreneurial retreats for her and her clientele to relax and learn, or she's just being the most important person on earth, Mom. She's running her business, which is teaching others how to start their own business. I'd like for you to welcome to the Block Podcast business consultant and legal growth strategist, Miss Katrina Simmons. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You are more than welcome. We already did the intro, so you're good to go on that.
Good. I'm glad my welcome's out there then.
Yeah, there you go. You're all set to go. Today, for you that don't know, this is Katrina Simmons. She is a business consultant and legal growth strategist. And for those that don't know what that may entail, that means that if you want to work for yourself, then you should probably talk to her before doing it. And that way she can guide you through it and make it a lot easier than how I did it. So, there you go.
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell, that was it. But we're going to let her tell you a little more about exactly what she does. If you could explain a little bit more better than I do.
Yes, definitely. So I do everything from legal formation. So that means getting you registered with the Secretary of State and getting your EIN number, getting your entire legal foundation set, all the way through to getting your business contracts developed and reviewed. I do that too. And getting your trademark established, any copyrights done, I also handle that as well.
This because well, you might well put this on out there, because you have legal.
I am the legal growth strategist part.
So you know a little bit about that side too.
Yes, so I have 12 years of legal experience. My entire legal background. I have a master's in legal administration. So I previously just retired from as lead paralegal for a firm here in Indy. Okay. So what I did there was I managed NFL concussion cases. But I did have a lot of phenomenal retired players that I helped to get their money for their injuries after post-NFL seasons. So that was very fulfilling. I enjoyed it, loved my work, worked closely with those players and the other attorneys around the country. So that was a big part of my work. But I also managed another law firm here in the city as well, a criminal defense firm. He also does bankruptcy, family law, and other things of that nature. I went in and did a complete structure of his business foundation for his law firm. So I did the complete A to Z setup of his firm.
So you can pretty much almost take an idea from the ground and build it all the way to a business.
Definitely. I have done that on numerous occasions.
That's pretty remarkable, especially for those that don't know exactly how that whole process, well, everything that goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people that's in business right now don't know everything that they should know. Probably me, including that, because I learned the hard way. You know what I mean? I basically I kind of did mine, and I guess the way it's supposed to be. I created a product, and I thought the product was good. And from that point, I was like, okay, what do I do now? And I just pretty much internet and YouTube my way right on through it.
And it's so funny you say that. I literally on Sunday, every Sunday, I do these mini little
Sunday
strategy sessions. Yes. So I just did one on the legal basis of how to start your business the right way and not jumping into it the way you just said.
Yeah.
Because about 80% of the world, when they get an idea, they think that I got the idea, I know who I want to sell to, I'm going to go get this bag and get these checks.
Yeah.
And that's not what you need to do. You need to legally protect yourself. And also make sure you protect the assets and your future for that business. Oh, wow. So I went through step by step of the fundamentals of protecting your business and getting it set up right. So when you do get that first check, you don't have any doubts and problems about it. That's what you need to do to protect yourself.
Yeah, I like I said, I fumbled my way through, and there's still like a whole lot that I don't know, but I'm. And this is the third time I'm doing it, so I learned more, and unbelievably, I've done it without a lawyer at this point. I don't even know.
You're not the only one.
I'm probably a total criminal at this point. I just don't know it, but it seems to be working.
I doubt that. Exactly. You're like most of the world.
But yeah, a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, and I've spoken actually with friends that, and maybe you share a little bit on this. But a lot of people, they, like you said, they just want to get the product, sell the product, make money. And they completely just jump over anything else that has to do with the business other than, I got this, I sold it to them, I got this money. That's, you know what I mean? And I'm like, and it's like like I said, some friends of mine, and I'm like, dude, you should be doing this, or so you don't do that, and they're like, oh, I ain't worried about that, man.
That's it.
And I'm like, yeah, that's probably gonna come back and bite you. You probably want to do that, you know what I mean? So, like, if you could give, an insight on how the importance of why people shouldn't skip steps when it comes to starting the business and how that could, because the legal side of this.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
The biggest, most important reason is this old little man that we see all the time, Uncle Sam. That's the biggest, most important reason. You do not want to skip any steps and go and collect $200.
Yeah, because they're gonna want that $200 back.
I know, exactly. But all jokes aside, that is what's most important, because the IRS will come for you. It will eventually catch up to you. Okay. And I know people who have had incredibly lucrative construction businesses, other great companies that have been completely demolished by taxes.
Yeah.
We've seen celebrities like that.
Yeah.
Taxes.
I know a few personally that, yeah.
And this is what it is. You've got to set up that structure for taxes. And it's not hard to do. People will think immediately, I'm going to owe all this money. That's why I don't want to do it. I just want to go under the radar. I don't want to owe all this money. Yeah. But in essence, it's really not like that, because Donald Trump doesn't even pay taxes. If you have the proper accountant and you know what you're doing with that person, you don't have to pay all these taxes. I don't pay a lot of taxes. So if you know exactly how to structure it. Oh yeah, my girl, she's phenomenal. She is phenomenal. Shouts out to her. But that's what you have to do. And I do business taxes. That's another thing that I do for some of my clients. I do business taxes, but I don't do my own. I'll let somebody else
Let
do
somebody
mine.
else do that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let somebody else. That's on you. Look.
But this is why you shouldn't skip those steps. Every one of the steps that I always talk about, from getting your name registered to getting your LLC to getting your EIN and the bank account, they all roll together
And
for these purposes.
How hard are those things to get?
You can literally be registered and have an entire business in 48 hours. That's all it takes.
In 48 hours.
48
How
hours.
do you accomplish something like that?
A couple of strokes online. Depending on your state. I'll put that disclaimer out there. Most states, very simple process is online, depending on your state. Now, some states, it could be a little longer depending on their process.
Right.
But typical states, 48 hours. Indiana's one of the easiest states to get your LLC.
Okay. All right. Now, I mean, because you do a whole lot, but I want to know, about, of course, your entrepreneurial side, and because, like you said, you work for, 2 or 3 legal agencies.
I did. I don't anymore.
Well, you did.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You did. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people find it, because I'm actually still haven't let go of of the baby bottle yet. You know what I mean, so to speak. And so a lot of people, that is like that, breaking that's like the umbilical wound. Like, that's, you know what I mean, like, you're leaving home for real.
It is.
And you don't have that whatever amount check every week popping in that account, and now it's like, well, if I don't make this happen, then that check don't show up. So how did you get yourself to that point to where you were like, okay, one person, I'm done. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how did you get there? Like, as far as the steps you had to take, I mean, in mentally, I mean, because
it was a lot.
I'm sure.
I actually started thinking about full-time entrepreneurship about 3 years ago or so. It was about 3 years ago.
Okay.
3 to 4 years ago. And if I rewind backwards, owning my own business was never a goal. I never wanted to own a business. I didn't care about owning a business. I wanted to be the next Johnny Cochran and end up on the United States Supreme Court. That was my vision in life. I had a goal.
I went to school for criminal justice. So
yeah. So I wanted to be on the bench, and I wanted to retire on the bench, and I was going to be the best judge, and had my life plan. I wanted to represent professional athletes.
Okay.
I wanted to do criminal work.
Okay.
So it's funny when, fast forward later, a couple of years back, I remember I was talking on the phone to a friend of mine, and we were talking about goals and things, and it was a Sunday, and I was driving home from church, and it was like this ring went off in my head that God had really given me everything that I wanted, because I was representing professional athletes, and I was working at a criminal defense firm. It just didn't look the way I wanted it to look.
Right.
So, but I literally have accomplished everything I wanted to, because I have, in essence, pretty much practiced law without having to ever go in a courtroom.
Right.
So I had achieved my goals, and I knew at that moment it was time to transition to the next chapter. Okay. So when I started thinking about that, I had already established the business, but I really wasn't working in it, because I also have a private investigation and security company as well.
Now I saw that. So which came first?
The PI company came first with my ex-husband.
Okay.
And I was just supposed to be a silent partner that became the partner, the real person.
Okay.
But that's okay. So yeah, the PI came first. Working with him, I set up the entire foundation. That's even how I even got started to figure out how to open a business.
Exactly.
So started building the blocks of that, and then the following year was when Gifted Minds, my business, came.
Right.
And talking to a friend, that bell went off again, and it was that ring telling me that I needed to have a business where I help people to find their purpose and make it profitable.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there like, I know nothing about business because I have no business background.
Yeah.
I didn't take any business classes other than business law. So
Right.
I was like, okay. But from there, when I accepted that, yes, okay, I'm going to do this, everything else from the name Gifted Minds to every detail has been self-taught and God learned. That's what I always say. Okay. So it was just a domino effect of information from there. Okay. And then when I decided to make that transition and started talking about it, the more I talked about it, the more I noticed that my time frame started shrinking down. Because at first I was like, oh, I'm going to do it when I turn 40. And then it went down, oh, I'm going to do it when I turn about 38. And then it went down to, well, maybe about 37. Until finally, I met my business partner 2 years ago. And we were talking, and I was telling him, he was full-time entrepreneur already. Okay. And he was like, I said, oh my gosh, I really want to do that. And he was like, well, I can really help you do that. And within a year, he did help me do that. Because when you surround yourself with the people that are already doing it, it's so much easier for you to do it. Yeah. So when I made the decision that everything else was going to align, it started to align. And then the excuses started to fade. Because at first it was like, oh, I need the insurance. And then my ex-husband got the insurance on our kids. And then it went to, oh, well, I don't have any extra money saved up. And then my father happened to pass away last year, leaving me with an asset. Okay. So, and he was an entrepreneur. He owned his own businesses. And I had talked to him a month prior to, and we had talked about business. And I was telling him I wanted to go full-time into my own business. Okay. And, he was advocating with me and stuff. And it was the greatest conversation ever. And then a month later, he passes away. Oh, man. And that was my final confirmation that it was time to move. So when I came back from his funeral and planning all of that, I remember sitting at my desk and I was like, okay, I know I'm doing this. And jumping. I put that date on the calendar of when I was doing this. And I circled it on my calendar. And when you put it on your calendar and you say you're going to do it, everything else lines up. And from that point on, I was taken more away from my regular job, doing my own other thing than I was in the office. Yeah. And to the point by November of last year, I could care less about that job. I was just like, okay.
Yeah, it definitely starts to deplete your meaning.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it does.
Oh my God. And especially when you see your worth and your value of, I can make what I make here in a week. Yeah. In a day or in a couple of hours.
And you built it.
It's mine.
That's the thing. It's like, and I find this, and I don't know, I always say that, that entrepreneurship is 70-30. 30 is your skills, is your talent, whatever it is that you may do. I don't know. You might have created a product or whatever it is that you do. That's 30%. The other 70 is the mind state.
Yes, it is.
It's the mindset to say that I've started this. I gotta keep going now. It's that, I created this. So I have to keep going. Yes. And that mindset right there will keep you super busy.
Yeah, and you don't want to go back. Busy. I said the day I left that job, I would never work for anybody else ever again, and I meant that. I never think about, I got to go get a job. I'm like, no. Yeah. I'm not ever going to go get a job. I mean, the day I left that job, which is ironically so funny because I turned in my letter of resignation, this beautiful letter of resignation I had written up, and I had been at my job for like 6 years. And I was like the administrator of our software. I had trained the entire staff at our firm and, done a lot of things. Yeah. But the day I turned in my letter of resignation, they walked me out that building. And so at that moment, that tells you your value to a company, of course. But
they didn't give you 2 weeks?
Oh, no. And I gave them a month.
Like, it's a wrap now.
Oh, yeah. I was like, okay. Wow. Yeah, but
I've heard of that. I've never experienced it, but
it's something. And it was a shock to my spirit for a second because I was like, hold on a minute.
I know y'all.
Like, I did all this stuff here. But, it was also just that extra confirmation of don't look back. Like, there's nothing left, because it was so funny. They walked me out, and then HR has the nerve to say, I'll give you a letter of recommendation. I said, for myself? I'm like, what are you giving me a letter of recommendation for? Myself? I'm like, I don't need a letter of recommendation. I'm like, I don't think it clicks in your head, because
right,
hey.
exactly. And with, like I was saying about the what do you think are some of the big characteristics that tend to be in a lot of entrepreneurs?
It's definitely got to be that don't give up mentality, because every day is a restart. There have been so many days that I get because I'm a perfectionist to the core. My business partner, God love him, I know I stress him the heck out because I know the first 2 months of full-time entrepreneurship was a struggle for me, because I wanted everything organized and perfect. I felt like I had to get everything set before I could put it out and actually make money. And then I had to sit there and realize I didn't make no money.
Right.
And he was like, what are you doing? He's like, you're not making any money. And I'm just like, but I don't have the stuff fixed. And he's like, we don't care about stuff. You need to make money. And I'm just like, okay, but I got to start all over. So there's so many of those days where I remember I'll sit at his kitchen table. I'll be like, oh, I got to do this all over again. Like, it's that you can't give up. You got to have one of those people. I said that's going to either be your personal trainer and your accountability coach, and that person that's not going to be your yes person. It's going to be that person that's going to get in your behind and push you. Because if not, you will not make it. You will not make it as an entrepreneur. If you got two people that have the same type of mentality, you won't make any money, or you will run each other off the cliff. It's not going to happen. You have to find that balance that is going to push you above and beyond what you think your own limitations are, because otherwise you're not going to do it.
I agree with that. I've learned a lot during from that product that I created to this show. I've learned a lot about the people that you have around you.
Yes.
And how that affects how it goes, or if it goes at all sometimes, or how easy it is.
I had to let a lot of people go. I cut a lot of branches, a whole lot of branches. My circle got real small.
And you know what I realized is that I don't fault any of those people. And the reason why I don't is because it's not their dream.
Exactly.
It's not their, they're not driven to do this. I am.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't really be upset with somebody for not feeling what it's like having that's like a song on the radio, and I'm like, oh my God, that's jamming. You're like, yeah, it's okay. You know what I mean? Like, I can't be like, well, you suck as a person. You know what I mean? Like, no.
Yeah, but you can't drag them along with you.
That you cannot do.
You just have to move on and do your thing. Let them do theirs, and then come back together, have fun, do your little breakfasts, lunch, go have some party time. But you don't have to talk business. You don't have to do any business together.
They ain't gonna be on the retreat though.
No,
they ain't gonna be on the retreat.
It's not happening. You probably don't even get an invite. So
yeah.
I mean, it's just the thing. That's just the way it goes, because I know where your mind is. Now, if your mind changes and you get interested enough that you want to come over, I'm for it.
Right. Yeah.
But
I'm with you.
If that's not your thing, I'm not going to push you to make it your thing, and I'm not going to take offense that it's not.
Right.
It's just cutting off dead weight.
Now, what would you say are some of the biggest pitfalls for people that are trying to start up their own business, and some of the advice you give them to get around those?
So I know that one of the bigger things, there are 5 areas of focus that I like to talk about, and that's mental, physical, emotional, organization in your business, and financial. And those are the top 5 places that people always pitfall in. Financial, nobody plans it. Now, I'm not saying that you got to have all this nest egg of money,
Right.
but you should at least start preparing for that transition.
Right.
Now, I'm not going to lie. I did not fully prepare. I was still balling and having a great time. Thankfully, I was okay still. Even in them 2 months I wasn't working, I was still all right.
Right.
But don't, you have to backtrack. You need to sit down and figure out what your budget is, both at home and for the business.
Right.
Separately. You got to know what numbers you're working with. You can't just think here and there.
Right.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And then mentally, don't listen to the naysayers. Like I said, cut off those bad vibes and get in your own head. You got to push out your own naysayer, that little person on the back of your shoulder telling you, hey, you really can't do this. Like, no, you can't. You got to have other people that kick that person off too. And affirm yourself every day that you can do this and you are doing this.
Yeah.
And then also get organized in your business. So like we were talking about, make sure, write that business plan. You were talking about what can they do to make sure they're covering their ground and steps. Write your business plan. That's where it all starts. Your business plan is your playbook. I say that is your Bible. You will use it for the rest of your business life.
Right.
It will grow. It will feed from you. I've updated mine since, I started my business in 2014. It just grows. I take things out, I add things to it. I see where I'm at. But that is something you start with the foundation of what it is that you have. I always say that is the chance to let your imagination run wild. Write out that business plan.
I did not like that. It's the part I didn't care for.
I know a lot of people don't. And that's because I know it looks intimidating. It sounds intimidating. So when I walk through this with my clients, I treat it more so like almost like a homework assignment. So I break it down to some questions, just like you and I are having an interview. I'm like, fill this out. And then I take your words and I make it all pretty into an actual plan.
Yeah, see, that sounds a lot. That's a whole different ballgame than how I did it. I'm back and forth from YouTube to the.
It took me 2 years to write my business plan when I wrote it. So I get it. When I first tried to write a business plan, 2 years it took me to do it.
Yeah, I was not big on that. I was like, this blows. I don't like this part right here.
It can be intimidating, and get help for the pieces that you need help. But for the meat of it, your vision, your values, your mission, your services, how much you want to make, the numbers that you want to make, how many people you need to help you. Like, those are the foundational pieces that you can put in a notebook and write out. Yeah. Write it out. As long as you're writing it out, you can see it and figure out from there.
Yeah, just pieces.
Yeah.
That's the only way I could do it, is just like, whenever I thought about, something, I'd be like, oh, okay. And then I'd go in and I'd just write something and I'd leave it alone and I'd come back.
That's it. I swear, that 2 years, I had like 3 notebooks and notes everywhere. It was a lot, but hey.
But you got to have it.
Still
you
works.
have to have a business. And, and that's the key too, is like, the perfect business plan that's it. It's a wrap.
It is.
If you get that.
I still go back to my business plan.
Yeah, you got it.
That's how I trimmed down some of my services, added to my services, and all of that.
McDonald's is still crushing it.
Yes, and they haven't really changed much of their Walmart. What have they changed? Like, it's something they recycle over and over and over.
Yeah,
franchise and sale.
They're crushing it. They're crushing it. You know what I mean? All right. How would you like the information that you have? Which is abundance on both sides, legal and non-legal. But how would do you utilize this information to simplify your client's life?
What I usually do, the biggest thing is, of course, the contract.
Yeah,
and the contract protections. Because people, when you're going into business with other people, and then also when you are partnering with other people, and any type of vendors or just client contracts in general, a lot of people will just do things. Like we said, just jump and do them.
Yeah.
And then we have a lot of money involved and on the table, and then things go wrong.
Yeah, money can change.
And then we get upset. And then we want to talk about going to court. But there's nothing in writing. So this is when I'm telling people, look, get you a contract in place. I am the queen of talking about contracts and putting them together and making sure people are solid, because I've seen too many times where people have very lucrative businesses and with partners with no contracts in place. And then things go sour, and then they're trying to figure out how to split all this money, or there's money being lost. Like I just sit there and I'm like, you're losing a whole lot of money, right? It just blows my mind sometimes. I'm like, oh my gosh, but that's where we sit down and I'm like, let's get you protected, because that's the key to it. Protection between the contract and your legal formation with that business plan. That's what's going to really protect your business and give it longevity, because it's protecting your assets, and it's going to also make people take you seriously, because you're going to think about moving forward. You want to expand your business. I mean, we don't think about just putting it in one place and never doing anything else with it. So if you're trying to expand, you need to make sure it is set correctly and that other people are looking at you as a legitimate company. As a Walmart, as a McDonald's.
Yeah. There's a lot of little things that people don't take into consideration.
They do not.
And when it comes to business, and some of it is cosmetic, you know what I mean? But it, and I know sometimes I think, that's stupid. It shouldn't even matter, you know what I mean? But the truth of it is that it does, you know what I mean? And that, the potential business partners that you may want to work with, they're looking at it.
You're exactly
right.
It's
People are like, well, the logo is not that big important.
Yes, it is.
Like,
logos, names, especially when you have a product, look at that name. If you're trying to go in certain stores, what are people going to think about that name? Yeah. That's a big thing, because I know some clients that have some interesting names for their products. And I'm just like, oh, honey, I don't know if you're going to make it into Walmart with that. We're gonna have to change this up a little bit. I'm just like, I mean, I love my people. But I see it too often when we got hood mentality in the corporate world. We very much are. We got to take the hood mentality off the corporate world. And we got to make it legal and right.
Unless you have a podcast, then it can be the block.
Exactly. That's right. You can be as hood as you want to. That transfers over.
Yeah, that works out well. You know what I mean? Okay. What are like 3 of your golden rules that, when it comes to advice, that you share with your client? I mean, like your hard knocks. Like when you look at your client, you're like, no, seriously, don't do this. Like, or for real, you really need to do that. Like, I'm not joking right now. You need to be on. Like, what are 3 like we gotta have? It's got
top 1. If you come to me for any type of assistance and you have a business, you have to. Well, of course you gotta pay me. Of course, you have to be registered with your state to have that business. I don't care what state you're in, but I need to know that you have a registration on file with somebody's state.
That as far as like
you
LLC,
have, yes, you need to be legally formatted.
Okay.
So that is a number 1 with me.
Okay. Number
2, I need to know if you got any contracts in place already, and I need to see those contracts of what you already have in place.
Okay.
Between either you and your clients or you and your vendors, so I can either chop it up or fix it or approve it for you.
Okay.
And then 3rd, I need to know how your finances are moving. So that means, do you have a business account that you are putting money into? Not a Cash App, because Cash App is not a business account, people. It is not a business account.
You sure on that?
It is not federally protected.
Okay.
It is deemed a personal account. So, I need to know that you have a business account for your business.
Could you go into a little bit of detail about a business account? Because a lot of people don't know.
Yes. So a business account, you have to have a EIN number a registration with the IRS.
And that is your tax number.
That's your tax ID number.
Okay.
So you can go in and be registered with your state in order to go and get you a business account. Also, they look to see if you have any check systems on your personal side. So people need to know what you do or do not have on your personal side, because some banks will not let you get an account if you do have personal banking issues. Now, some will. If you're EIN, it's brand new business, you're cool. But some of the major banks will not. So I usually tell people, if you got some questions on your check systems, go to a credit union. Credit unions are typically the easiest forms of banks to go and start a business account. They usually have 0 fees, no monthly fees, no minimum balances, nothing like that. They're the easiest ones, and it's easier and faster to get a loan for a business once you've established a relationship with a credit union. Mm-hmm.
That's good information. That's a freebie.
That is a freebie.
She's not going to charge you this time.
Nope, you got it.
But, okay. And you know, and I know that, you know, you do a lot. What are some of the things like that have like personally motivated you? I know you spoke about your father. Mm-hmm. You go in more detail with that if you want.
Yeah. So my dad, he owned his own auto body shop in Tennessee. Okay. That's where I'm from, born and raised.
No, when did you come here?
2007, I moved to Indy. Yeah,
okay, so
right after college.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, right after college, I moved here. Right. So yeah, I've tried to.
You're kind of a Hoosier. We'll let you slide.
Nah.
You don't really want to be a Hoosier. That's sad.
No, I try to cover the accent, but. I'm not as much of a country girl, but I'm still a country girl at heart. But yeah, so he owned his own auto body shop. He basically was the king of rebuilding and painting cars. He could customize any vehicle ever. It could be a scrap car. He could make it into something beautiful. Okay. But he owned his own auto body shop on his property. So I had talked to him previously about, you know, starting a business and doing that type of thing. And when I was talking to him about that, he was like, okay. He was like, yeah. He said, you know, you get that from me and stuff, which I know. I did get my entrepreneurial mindset from him, definitely. So talking to him about it, and then my children, really. That was really more of my inspiration to really want to move forward as a full-time entrepreneur, because I have 3 kids. So I have a 16-year-old son, I have a 12-year-old daughter, and then I have a 4-year-old son. Okay. And then I wanted to have the flexibility to spend more time with my kids, as far as being able to be that mom that can go to all their stuff whenever I want to, and not have to be like, oh, I got to run here, but then I got to check in to make sure I can do this. Right. I was tired of checking in with somebody. I was tired of having to sit in a chair. Like, I was just like, I'm over this. So I wanted to be that mom that could have that flexibility, and also show them that mommy's going to be a boss. So now that mommy is a boss, my 12-year-old, she launches her business this month. Oh, really? So yeah, she's going to be doing hair and nails. So
I have one too.
Yes.
So she doesn't do nails. She does hair though.
Yeah, she's doing hair and nails, and she'll be launching that this month. So we've got to get the name registered and get her all set up. So she's super excited.
She's getting the easy out of it. She got you behind her. She got the easy out of it. You might have to let her bump her head a few times. So she know what it's really like out here.
I know, right? She is so ready. She was telling me today, she said, I'm going to be your most successful child. I'm like, okay, Marina, okay. But she is ready to make her money and do this thing.
From 2 boys.
Oh, she probably is.
She's like, I gotta get out of here. This is crazy.
But having those things, and then the flexibility period to be able to travel and do whatever I wanted to, because I love to travel. Yeah. And last year I did a lot of international traveling and sitting poolside in Turks and Caicos and working for myself. As I looked at the ocean, I was like, you know what? I'm about to do this more often. And I was really sitting there like, I can really do this. And I was like, yeah, I want to do this all the time. Now, COVID messed me up this year because I had a couple of places planned, but I'm coming back on it. But those things were what fully pushed and motivated me. I want to create a legacy for my children. I have my hands in several different business opportunities. I'm on the board of a Black-owned bank in South Carolina that fell into my lap.
Wow.
It's a brand new startup bank. Yeah. So
That's awesome.
they found me on LinkedIn, started talking to a gentleman, and just so happened that we were talking about one thing. He mentioned that he was a joint partner in this startup bank. It was intriguing to me. Next thing I know, I'm on the board, and I'm one of the top board members over the board. So, but it's phenomenal experience. So the more that I get to do, and then my business partner is also, we have two businesses together. I'm still in business with my ex-husband with our private investigation and security company. So yeah, so I have quite a few things that I like to keep my hands in, those multiple streams of income.
Okay. And what exactly all services do you offer?
Oh gosh.
I mean,
so
we got a time limit on the show.
I know, right? So
I
always say my centralizations lie in contract negotiation, drafting, and preparation. So that means that I will prepare any type of customized contract to fit your business. Doesn't matter what it is. I will also review and draft or review those. So if you have any already that need to be revised, I will do that. And then I will negotiate contracts. So if you are a business to business type of business, I will go in and negotiate contracts on your behalf as well. So I can do those things too to make sure that you win all the money that you need to get. I'll also, moving to the next phase, I do trademark and copyright acquisition. So I help you to get your trademark for your logo. I know, right? Your logo, your name, all of that good stuff. I help you lock all that in too. Copywriting as well. And then business systemization is where I go into your business that you already have if you're already established. And I see where your weak points are, where we can make more money, where we can increase marketing. I do marketing plans. I do business plans. I do a lot. I do a lot, but those are the highlights of some of the things that I do.
Okay. Now, because I watch, your Sunday strategies. Is there any courses or anything that your business offers?
Yes, so I do offer courses every quarter. So it'll be on various topics. The next one coming up will probably be hitting not until about January because of my upcoming event that is about to drop.
We're going to talk about it.
Yes, so I will probably not do the next course until January. But the course subject matter is typically anything of how to make that transition from employee to entrepreneur, to how to build your business plan, to how to brand yourself, things of that nature. Those are kind of some of the courses that I'm working towards.
Okay, cool.
Oh, and copyrights and trademarks and what's included in those too.
A lot. That's what's included in it.
I know, it's a lot.
All right, now to this your upcoming event.
Yes, Power Purpose and PJs.
Let's talk about pajamas.
Yes, so September the 18th through the 20th is my second annual Power Purpose and PJs, Visions of a Boss. Last year was my very first one. It was a relaunch of Gifted Minds because I structured and changed some of the format of Gifted Minds and my service offerings. I took off some stuff from that business plan and added on some stuff. And I wanted to rebrand, relaunch myself, and I did Power Purpose and PJs. It was centered around helping people to find their purpose and turn it into profit. It was phenomenal, overnight type of deal. I had some ladies come, rented an inn. It was great. I had a panel of other business women that spoke. We had some seminars that evening, private chef, all that greatness. This year, though, I decided after I kept meeting all of these ladies that were in positions of that middle ground of having a business and wanting to go full-time into their business like I did. They wanted to do what I did. So this is where I birthed Vision of a Boss. This season is to set people up, the ladies that are ready to move forward with that action plan. So if you are ready to move and you know that you are an elite boss like Me.
You wanna jump without the
This
parachute.
is your
Let's go.
weekend. This is it. This is your weekend because this weekend is catered to you. It's all about luxury. So I have rented an estate on the lake here in the city.
Okay.
And it's on an entire weekend. So September the 18th through the 20th.
Okay.
And there are only 12 ladies that are allowed to come because of COVID.
Oh,
But all your meals are catered. We have workshops the entire weekend with several other nice little gifts in there as well.
Okay. Oh, you can't give everything away.
Yeah, no, I got some good little nuggets coming, but there will be a nice little serenade from a particular artist. But yeah, the food is going to be impeccable. Oh, open bar, I forgot about that part too. The entire weekend. So
You're doing this main selling part.
But yeah, everything is luxury. But the biggest piece is you walk away with your action plan and your date on your calendar of when you're gonna leave.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you for coming by.
Thank you so much for this experience. The block has been hot, so I love it.
Yeah. Well, the street lights is on, so we gotta go in the house. So, but before we take off, once again, what are your dates for your retreat?
September the 18th through the 20th. You can get all of the information at Eventbrite. Also on my Facebook page at Gifted Minds LLC. Okay. Instagram, you can follow me at Special K 7714, and then I'm also on LinkedIn at Katrina Simmons, and then Facebook at Katrina Lashaye Simmons.
All right. Cool. Well, there you have it, guys. Another wonderful show, and I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I hope you guys got something out of it, and you can go ahead and jump without that parachute. I'm still holding on to mine a little bit. I haven't let it go. Let it go. But hopefully, if you guys watch this show, then you can help me let go of my parachute.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Until next time, have a wonderful day.